October 7, 2022. That was the day that my life completely changed. And I'm not trying to be overly dramatic, but the reason why is because before that, I was flipping burgers at McDonald's for $14 an hour. And I actually ended up with over $15,000 in credit card debt. So I knew that things needed to change quick. Then on October 7th, 2022, that was the day that I decided to start my own lead generation agency. And within 60-ish days, I had hit my first $10,000 month. And the craziest part was prior to that, I literally didn't make a single dollar online. So please pay attention to today's video. Go grab a coffee, go grab your notebook, go grab a pen, because I literally spent the last 2 weeks and countless sleepless nights trying to take all the information inside of my head so that I could walk you through the 7 steps you need to take in order to start and scale your own lead generation agency to $10,000 per month in the next 90 days. So right now you are seeing my Stripe. This is my payment processor. And as you can see over here from the dates, I set it at August 28th, 2022 to December 31st, 2022. And as you can see, throughout this entire period, I made $10,500, but we could obviously change the dates just to show you that this is real. I'm just gonna move it to September. So what actually happened was I started my business in October 2022. And obviously I didn't make money in October. November, I was building the business. I was learning how everything works and getting started. And I signed my first client on December 1st, 2022. So I'm just going to switch it to a daily view or even a monthly view, I think would be better, right? So monthly view, December 2022, I made $10,500. I didn't make a single dollar before that. And we look at it from a daily view. I signed my first client on December 1st, 2022 for $3,000. And then obviously I signed 4 clients that led me to $10,500 in a single month. So basically within 2 months of starting my own lead generation agency. And the reason I'm showing you this is not to flex, it's not to show off, but simply to show you that this is real, that this is possible. And if you do the right things, making $10,000 with your own lead generation agency can literally happen within the next 90 days. So here is what we will be covering today. And if you follow this through step by step, this will be your roadmap to $10,000 per month. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna be jumping right into the sauce. We're not gonna be talking about how to create a logo, how to design a website, how to put together a business plan, because while all of those things are important at a certain stage, getting to $10,000 per month, that is not the stage to focus on any of these things. Instead, here are the 8 things that you will need to know. The first is what is a lead generation agency. The second is how to pick a niche. The third one is how to build your leads list. The fourth is how to set up your cold email infrastructure. The fifth is creating your no-brainer offer. The sixth is creating a killer cold email campaign. The seventh is how to collect thousands of dollars on a 40-minute Zoom call. And finally, the 8th thing is how to repeat the process and actually scale to $10,000 per month. Now, here's the goal of the video. If you watch to the end, you will know everything you need to know in order to go out, start your own lead generation agency, sign your first clients, and then scale to $10,000 per month in the next 90 days. I guarantee it, if you're able to follow instructions and actually take action, that is exactly what's going to happen. And again, I know this to be true because I did it in 60-ish days. So who is this for? So this video is for you if you're looking to start a business where you can literally make thousands of dollars every single month while being able to work on your own time and from anywhere around the world. And I know this sounds cheesy, but that's the truth. This video is for you if you tried other business models in the past, maybe SMMA, maybe dropshipping, Amazon FBA, copywriting, all these other things. You got no results, or if you did get results, you got mediocre results, didn't really make that much money, and you're just tired of seeing people online who kind of just push all of these other business models that are not as great as they initially appeared. This video is for you if you spent the last few weeks, maybe the last few months, just watching different YouTube videos, maybe buying different courses, and you're just ready to take action and actually get results. This video is for you if you're doing okay in life, maybe you're in school or maybe you're working a pretty decent job, but you feel like what you're doing is just not that fulfilling. It doesn't align with, I guess, your purpose, for a lack of better words, and you're just not really creating the impact that you'd like, or you just want to make more money. And again, that's completely fine as well. That's kind of me. This video is for you if you're seriously thinking about starting your own lead generation agency, or maybe you've already started, but you're just feeling a little bit uncertain or you have a bunch of giant questions about how everything works. This video will answer everything you need to know. But again, right, this video is not for everyone. This is not for you if you're completely happy with your current situation, right? Whether that is your education, your career, your income, your time and location freedom. And if you are, that's amazing, right? Because you found something that works, you found something that makes you genuinely happy. And that's kind of what we're all looking to chase after anyway. So if that's you, this is not for you. This video is not for you if you're looking for a way to kind of just get rich quick, right? This is a legit business. What we're talking about is a legit business. You're providing real value to other people. And if you want to become rich overnight, then this is not the direction that you want to look at. This video is not for you if you're not able to follow simple instructions, right? By the end of this video, you will literally have everything you need to start a LGA, a lead generation agency, and scale to 10K. And I'm literally giving it to you completely for free. But obviously, if you don't follow the instructions or you actually don't take action, you're not gonna make any money at all, right? And finally, this video is not for you if you just generally don't have money, right? If you're down to your last $10 in your bank account, and no one online is ever gonna tell you this because everyone's just trying to sell you a course or sell you on a business opportunity or whatever the case is and take advantage of your last few dollars. But please, do not start a business if you just don't have any money, because your chance of success will be extremely slim, because in a way, if you're down to your last few dollars, you'll be playing to not lose as opposed to playing to win, right? If you are at zero or you're $5 or $10 or something like that, just go out and get a job or work a remote online job. That'll be the quickest and easiest way and the most guaranteed way to actually save a few $100, right? But if you want to go from $10 to a few $100 to a few $1,000s, business is not for you, right? Because it'll probably take you way longer than if you just got a job anyways, right? So this video is not for you if that is you. You just don't have that much money. But if you just want to stay to learn, to understand how everything works, then feel free to do so, right? And again, no one's ever going to tell you this. And again, this kind of goes against my own story, because when I first started, I was in debt, but your chance of succeeding is just significantly larger if you start with a little bit of savings in the bank, right? That's just the truth. Now, jumping into the very first thing, we first want to talk about what is a lead generation agency. So let me start by asking you a question. What do you think is the biggest problem that a business owner faces? Well, the biggest problem that keeps them up at night is literally figuring out where to find their next customer and their next client to sell their products or services to. Now, to highlight the importance of this, I actually searched on Google to find out how many B2B businesses there actually are. And obviously on your screen right now, you see that there are more than 3 million B2B businesses in the US alone, right? Now, what this means is there are more than 3 million B2B businesses in the US alone who are all actively thinking about how to find more customers. So what if there was a way for you to actually provide a solution to all of these businesses, right? Because I actually found this quote that kind of reinforces my point. And this is a quote that Elon Musk actually said. You get paid in direct proportion to the difficulty of the problems that you solve. So we understand that all of these businesses have a massive problem. And if you're able to provide a solution, if you're able to help these businesses find your next customer, then you will make a lot of money. And that's the truth. That's the entire premise of this entire business model. Because regardless of the economy, regardless of world events, every single business will still need more customers, and you are literally providing these businesses exactly what they want, a literal solution to all of their problems. And because there are so many businesses, there's again more than 3 million if we look outside of just the US alone, there is an insane amount of demand for people who are able to do this for businesses. So by selling lead generation as a service, you're selling a need to a market with quite literally an infinite amount of businesses. Well, of course, there obviously isn't an infinite amount of businesses, but you will literally never run out of businesses to sell to, right? That's kind of the overall idea. You would just literally never run out. So how do we actually do that and help businesses find their next customer? Well, one of the best ways to actually find new customers is by using cold emails. And the statistics back this up, right? Because I actually searched this on Google as well. And it says that cold emailing is still one of the most effective tactics in a B2B sales rep's arsenal, right? 71% of buyers actually want to hear from sellers when they're exploring a new product or exploring a new idea, because cold emails is just super, super, super efficient. So to keep it simple, you're essentially going to be emailing a group of random business owners, and you be telling them that you will help them generate new leads and find their next customer. That's essentially what you're doing with cold emails. A small group of those business owners that you emailed initially will then reply back because they're interested in your service, and boom, that opens the door for you to then sell the actual service and to collect some cash. And the best part about this is, unlike all of these other business models, you're selling something that you're using yourself, right? So you're first using cold emails to land a client for yourself. Then once that works, and it'll work because that's how you got the clients, you're then doing the exact same thing to help your clients generate leads. So by the time you sign your first client, you literally have proof of concept that the process just works. Otherwise, you won't have that client to start with, and you've gone through this process yourself. Meaning, you really only need to focus on learning one thing. And that one thing is how to cold email in order to generate leads. That's literally all you're doing, right? That's the entire core premise of building a lead generation agency. You don't need to go out and learn how to run ads, learn how to edit videos, learn how to, edit pictures, graphic design, or anything else. So to summarize, due to the sheer number of B2B companies that literally exist, and the fact that you're selling an outcome which every business owner needs, is not even a want. They just need new customers, combined with the data that literally suggests that cold emails is one of the most effective ways to get new customers. This is why this business model is so great. This is why a lead generation agency is the best business model to scale, to start and scale to $10,000 per month as a complete beginner. And this is exactly why it's so easy to sell. So how do you actually get paid? That's a pretty important talking point, pretty important topic, right? So here is how you get paid as a lead generation agency. So if you're starting from scratch, this is the pricing structure that I recommend. Obviously, there's a bunch of different pricing structures out there. There's a lot of room to be creative, but this is what I personally recommend. This is what I used to get started. I recommend charging a one-time setup fee and charging for each qualified lead or each qualified call that you generate. And I'll explain what that means. But what a one-time setup fee is, you're charging money up front. I recommend somewhere between $1,500 and $3,000, right? I know people who have done more, who have done less, but I personally recommend $1,500 to somewhere around $3,000. And every single lead that you generate, so every single qualified call that you generate for your clients, I recommend charging somewhere between $200 and $300 per qualified call. And here's actually a screenshot of my Stripe of the setup fees that I collected, right? So anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000, right? Since then, I started selling my services for a higher setup fee for at least $4,000 to $5,000, $6,000, or $7,000. I've signed clients from that, but as a beginner, I recommend $1,500 to $3,000. So I recommend this pricing model because it literally provides the best mix of profitability and easiness to sell. Because obviously, if you're trying to sell your service for $7,000 setup, it's going to be a lot harder to sell than for $2,000, right? But on the other side, if you go too low and you sell your services for $500 or $1,000, you're really not going to make that much money, right? So I recommend $1,500 to $3,000. So for more background context, there are people, a bunch of people that I work with who have closed their first client for several thousands of dollars, and they did all of this without any case studies or testimonials. So for example, with Kevin, who you could pause and read through this, but he signed his first client for $3,500. Now, obviously, he split that up. So he got $1,500 up front or first half, so $1,750 up front, and the rest is due a month later and plus $300 per call. We have Tyler, who signed his first client for $2,500 setup and $250 per call. We have Chino, signed his first client for $2,000. He's in the Philippines, and he signed it for $2,000 USD, which is pretty significant if you factor in the currency conversion. We have Ajastru, who signed his first client for $2,000 setup. There's an error here for $200, but he signed it for $2,000 and $150 per call. So my point being is, it is possible to sell your services for $1,500, $2,000, $3,000, and you're able to do this without case studies and clients' testimonials and all of these other things. So it is possible. So the very first thing you want to do is actually step one, which is picking a niche. So the very first step is essentially deciding who you want to sell your lead generation services to. And the reason why we want to pick a niche is because there's a famous saying in marketing: if you're selling to everyone, you're selling to no one. And that is very, very true. So you want to pick a specific segment or specific industry of businesses which you can then sell to. And that way you can be way more relevant with what you're saying. However, this is the part where most people kind of just get caught up, because what happens is people end up wasting just a bunch of time with this, when in reality, picking a niche is really not that hard. It's really not that important. You have to do it, but it's not really that important. You can always switch niches down the line. You can do all of these other things and you can sell to different niches. You just really have to just start with one. That's literally all it is. You just pick one, you start with it, and you worry about the rest later. Because the only questions that you really should need to ask yourself when picking a niche should be, do you like them? Can you help them? And can they pay? Those are the only three things you need to ask yourself when you're picking a niche. And the only requirements for a good niche is, again, another three things. It should be a broad niche and not too specific, right? So don't niche down so hard to the point where it's just ultra specific. So example of that is a broad niche would be marketing agencies. And a very, very niche example would be UCG ad agencies or TikTok ad agencies, right? Don't do TikTok ad agencies, pick marketing agencies as a whole because there's just way more and it's just way more broad. Now, the second thing is they need to be selling their services to other businesses. So this needs to be B2B. So what that means is business to business. They sell their products, they sell to services to other businesses. The other customers are other businesses who are buying the products or services. So it can't be plumbers selling to homeowners. It can't be realtors helping people buy and sell homes. It can't be gym owners selling gym memberships, right? Those are examples of B2C businesses, business to consumer. This needs to be business to business. And finally, the third thing is they need to check their email and they need to check their phone consistently. So for example, there are examples of businesses. So for example, in the trades where people just don't really communicate that much by email. Now, obviously, if we're cold emailing these people, it's obviously not going to be that effective if we're reaching on a channel where these people maybe check it once every 2 days or once every 3 days or once a month type of thing, right? It's obviously not going to be that effective. So maybe you're watching this part of the video and your mind is running with a bunch of potential niches. Well, here's a list of 15 B2B niches that you can sell your lead generation services to. And I pulled this from ChatGPT. I'm just gonna zoom in, right? There's a bunch here. You can pause this video and take a look. There is SaaS, there's e-commerce, there's healthcare IT, financial services, recruitment agencies, marketing agencies, cybersecurity. There's a bunch of different things, right? Because the list is just kind of endless and there's just so many different B2B niches out there. And again, all of them literally needs new customers and needs new clients because there's just such a giant need and so much demand for the lead generation services that this literally applies, right? But again, right, you just have to pick one. That's the entire idea behind this. So personally, I have signed clients from a bunch of different B2B industries myself. So to really hit the nail on the head that this really isn't important, you can switch, right? I've had clients that were marketing agencies, that are PR firms, that are software development agencies, SaaS companies, recruitment agencies. My first client was a recruitment agency. Right now, at this moment of filming, a bunch of my clients are marketing agencies, right? You're able to pivot and sell your services to other niches because there's just so much demand and all of them really just need it, right? And these are all great niches. You just have to pick one that just stands out to you most, right? So that's how you pick a niche first. Look at that list of 15 over here. Pick the one that stands out to you most and just start doing your research, right? And to prove that this just works in a bunch of different niches outside of just myself, here are more examples of people who have signed clients in different niches. So for example, we have Kevin, signed his first client in software development agency. Sorry, this was Spencer actually, right? He signed it, oh, this is messed up. But anyway, so we're gonna go off the picture, right? We have Spencer who he signed his client and another person, Tony, asked him, what is the niche, right? And he said SaaS companies. We have Franco who did recruitment agencies. We have, Spencer again, who has SaaS actually. So I think I was supposed to swap up. But Kevin, who we saw earlier in the earlier picture, he sells to software development agencies. So there's a bit of an error. And we have Christian who sold to real estate, right, for his first client. So obviously my point being is this works in a bunch of different niches. These are all people who have sold their services, their lead generation services to different niches as well. So in your research, this is how you're going to research your niche. And these are some of the things that you want to keep in mind, right? So there's really 4 things. And I pulled this image from Alex Hormozi's book, $100 Million Offers. But essentially the only 4 things you really need to keep in mind is number 1, does the niche that you're selling to, do they have a pain or a common pain point? The second thing is, do they have money? So do they have the ability to purchase your services? Because if you're selling to people who just don't really have money, they're not going to be able to afford your services for $2,000 or $3,000. The third one is your niche easy to target, right? And this is more so to not make it harder than things need to be, if that makes sense, right? Why choose something that is just harder when you can do the exact same thing and sell to a different niche and get results so much quicker, right? Are they easy to target or not? And finally, the fourth thing is the industry growing or is it shrinking? What's the industry trends as a whole? So those are the things that you want to consider as you're doing your research, but how do you actually do research? It's actually very simple. You want to leverage two channels, YouTube and Facebook. So for example, I'm just gonna open this link right here. Here is an example, right? If I was trying to target marketing agencies, the very first thing you want to do, right? Because marketing agencies just stand out to me. You need to understand how marketing agencies work, right? You're obviously not starting a marketing agency, but you need to have a decent grasp as to how everything works. So the best thing you could do is go on YouTube, watch through some of these videos, right? Play it at 2x speed or something, just so that you understand the core pillars of the business, how everything works, how they make money, who they sell to, all of these different things. Watch through a couple of these videos to get a decent idea. And after you do that, once you have a pretty decent idea, what you want to do next is figure out what some of their common problems are. So a good way to do that is by going Facebook. I'm just going to open a link, but essentially you just want to go onto Facebook. You want to search marketing agencies. And I found a bunch of these different groups. These are all marketing agencies. Join these different groups, right? Join these groups, just request to join and essentially go inside these groups. And you're essentially, because it's a community, and this applies for forums as well. So try to find forums like Reddits or Discord communities or school groups or all these different groups. Join inside of them to look for common pain points. Look at what the type of questions that people are asking. Because if you see people asking a question and there's a lot of people asking a similar question or a lot of people interacting with it, it means it's a pretty common problem. So while I was putting this video together, I actually requested to join this group, Digital Marketing Agency Owners, for the purposes of this example, which is marketing agencies. I just joined this. I have no clue if this group is good or not, but I'm just gonna browse inside and see what people are saying. So this group kind of looks like a dead group. I'm not gonna lie, but over here we see a guy, Alex. He's asking, how do you guys get clients? So this has 47 likes, which is significantly more than all of these other, the average post, which gets like four likes. And you see that there's 161 comments. What this means is there's a lot of people, marketing agency owners, digital marketing agency owners, who are asking and they just don't know how to get new clients. So you understand that this is a problem. This is a question that people have. We're just gonna take a look inside the comments and see what this looks like. Maybe they hid the comments. All comments. We just look at them, local, monthly, in-person events. So we know a lot of marketing agents are selling in person, word of mouth, networking, that type of thing. One part outbound, one part inbound, a dash referrals. So a mix of both LinkedIn social selling, referral, and ads. Different things, 90% referrals, 10% networking, so word of mouth. And you see the 6 likes over here, so it's pretty relevant. So basically, what I'm trying to show you is this is how you do research. And now for the purposes of this video, I'm not gonna spend 30 minutes going through all of these different groups and conducting all of this research, but this is exactly what you want to do. You just want to find a community of the niche that you're selling, and I guarantee there is a community. It might not be on Facebook. It might be on somewhere else. It might be on Twitter or X. It might be on Reddit. It might be in all of these other places. But the point is you want to find a community where all of these people are congregated. You want to join inside these communities and just look around and see the common questions, the common problems that people have. Because, for example, for marketing agencies, because we see that there's so many people trying to figure out how to get clients, you now know that getting clients is probably a common pain point for marketing agency owners. We saw in the comments that a lot of those people relied on word of mouth and referrals. That's an insight that you can now leverage when you reach out to people, because you know that marketing agency owners, they're number one, struggling to get clients. And if they do get a client, they're relying on word of mouth and referrals. That's good information to have. That leads us to step 2, which is building your leads list, because we've identified who we want to work with. We've identified who we're selling our services to, but how do we actually reach out to these people over email? Well, what we need to do is to build a leads list, right? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put one together in front of you. I'm gonna show you some ninja tricks. Just because you're watching this video, you're gonna learn this, which is just straight sauce because people just won't really share this. And the only people who talk about this are the people who put it behind a paywall or they charge you a few $1,000s for a course. But I'm just gonna show you how to do it. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna go to Apollo.io. Apollo.io is a database which has all of the email addresses and the contacts of everyone you need to contact. So go over to Apollo.io, sign up for a free account, and once you sign up, log in, and this is what you see. The very first thing you want to do is go over to the search bar. This is what this is gonna look like. On the left side is the filterings to help you find exactly who it is that you're looking for. So when you're putting this together, think about who are the decision makers of the people. So obviously, for example, we're reaching out to marketing agencies, right? So the very first thing we want to do is we want to think about the location here on the left side. So where are these people located? For the purposes of our example, we're just going to put North America, but obviously you could put in UK, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, all these different places, right? But I'm just going to put in North America for the purposes of this example. After that, what we want to do is we want to go to number of employees, because this will dictate the size of the companies that you reach out to. Because obviously, if you're reaching out to someone at a larger company, the type of messaging, that the way you would do it would be slightly different from if you're reaching out to a smaller company. Now, what I recommend to most people when they're first starting out is reach out to smaller companies, right? So reach out to companies that are between 1 and 20, because the decision makers at those companies is very likely to be one single person. It's probably going to be the owner, the CEO, the founder, the co-founder, maybe the COO. Stop people like that. But if you're reaching out to companies that are greater than 20, so let's say 21 to 50 or 50 to 100, there might be multiple decision makers, and it makes your process a little bit more complex, right? And when you're first starting out, we want to keep this process as simple as possible. So I would recommend reaching out to people between 1 and 20. So now we know that we're reaching out to marketing agencies between 1 and 20 in North America. The next aspect is job titles. So again, who are those people? So I'm just gonna put in owner. We're gonna put in CEO. We're gonna put in the founder, and we're gonna put in the founder. We're gonna put in the co-founder. Those would be examples. There might be a couple others, but you want to just stop and think about that. But I'm just gonna show you how to do it. So you have the owners, the CEO, the founder, and the co-founder. So we have the job titles now. The very next thing that you want to do, and this is a very important aspect, so make sure you pay attention here, is the industry and keywords. And there's multiple ways to do this. What most people do is they go into search industries and they just search up like marketing agencies, and you see marketing and advertising. But you do not want to do that because it's not very accurate. That's just not the best way to do it. Instead, what you want to do is you want to leave the industry keywords blank. You want to go under company keywords, and under this section of include keywords, you're going to click that, and you're going to click exclude keywords as well. And under include keywords, you're essentially going to come up with a couple keywords to find what you're looking for. So think about if you are working with marketing agencies, what might be some of the search terms that you put onto Google to find these marketing agencies? Now, obviously, the very first one is going to be marketing agency. You're just going to search that up and search it. The next one might be marketing. It might be ads. It might be social media management. There's a lot of keywords. You just want to think of as many relevant keywords as you can and add them in. You could put in like TikTok. You could put in UCG. There's a bunch out there. So that's how you want to do it. After you do that, you want to look at your list, and you don't have to go through the entire list. We see there's 150,000 of these companies that have some of these keywords, but essentially you want to just go through this list and look for companies that might not be actually marketing agencies. So for example, Flood Me Social, there's a marketing agency. Wheeler Marketing Agency, there's a marketing agency. You just want to go through this list, go through a couple pages, 2 to 3 pages, and look for companies that might not be relevant. So this is an ads agency. This is another marketing agency. So this list does look relatively accurate. What you want to do is, I'm not going to show you how to do this because it's going to take a couple minutes to do it. But essentially, you just want to go through this list and look for companies that are not. So for example, let's say you see a software company. We're reaching out to marketing agencies. We're not reaching out to software companies. So you want to exclude that in your list. So under exclude keywords, you want to write in SaaS. And that removes every single SaaS company with that keyword from it. So it removed around 4,000. We're going to remove platform. We're going to remove coach because don't want to reach out to coaches. We're going to remove consultant. And we just removed instantly 14,000 people who are not that relevant to what we're looking for. So that's exactly what you want to do. This is how you want to put together your filtering. And as we can see, there's 136,000. And obviously, if we expanded that to other countries as well. So for example, for the purpose of the example, United Kingdom, for example, is going to add another 20,000 in there. So think about all the countries. So this is how you want to put together the filtering to get these marketing agencies. And as we can see, we have Danielle, who's the CEO of Wheeler Marketing Agency. That's exactly who we want to reach out to. We have Ryan, who's the founder of another marketing agency. We have Oliver, a CEO of another marketing agency. These are the direct people who we want to reach out to and sell our lead generation services to if marketing agencies is our niche. So that's what we want to do. After we do that, we obviously want to scrape this leads list. So how you want to do it is you want to go up here into the search bar. You want to copy the website URL. You want to go to this website, leadsmagically.com. It's Apollo Scraper. And essentially, you're just going to enter in your email and Apollo search URL. You're going to paste in the Apollo search URL. It's going to go like this. What you want to do is you want to select the amount of leads that you want. I recommend you scrape as many leads as possible. And the reason why is because if you know you're going to pick marketing agencies, we saw there's 150,000 of them, there's not really a point in going 10K at a time. If we know that's the niche that we're going to sell to, you might as well scrape the entire thing or as many as you can upfront to save yourself time and energy. So that's what you want to do. And obviously you're going to put it in your email. It does cost money. It's not that expensive. It's significantly cheaper than if you were to do it through Apollo. So for example, 10,000 leads off of this website, this scraper website, is going to cost you $40. On Apollo, if you got the plan, you're only able to scrape 2,000 leads for literally $100. So this is literally a lot cheaper, right? If we put the same 2,000 leads, it's $8 compared to Apollo's $100, right? Because you don't want to be using the Apollo plan. So that's what you want to do. You want to enter in your details, your email, your credit card, all those other things. And what's going to happen is you're going to submit it and you're going to wait a couple minutes or an hour, 2 hours, that type of thing. It's going to send you that list directly to your email that you put in over here. And what you're going to do is you're going to next take that list and you're going to go to this website called millionverifier.com. You're going to upload that list over here called select files to validate your list. And the reason why you need to do this, it's very important that you need to do this, is because what will happen is across this list of 150,000 people, not every single one of these people still work at these companies, right? Maybe they started a business and they closed it down, or maybe they moved to a different company, all these different things, and now their email address is just no longer valid. So what will happen is if you reach out to Danielle, who let's say works somewhere else now, the email is going to bounce because that email inbox just doesn't exist. And what will happen is that will mess up your overall email reputation and everything. You're going to pretty much just break everything, right? So it's very important that you verify all your email addresses using this website, millionverifier.com. And what's going to happen is after you do that process, it's going to give you an Excel sheet or a Google Sheets. And this is kind of example of my own leads sheet where I scraped marketing agencies. I scraped 53,000 of them that I verified and I put them onto a Google Sheet. This is kind of what that looks like. So we see, for example, we have Derek, who's the CEO of this company. This is his email address. This is the city he lives in. This is LinkedIn URL. And this is the website of his company. And obviously we have a bunch here. We have 50,000 of these. That's exactly what you want to do. And this is kind of what that process looks like. And after you have this, you're basically done step 2, which is building your leads list. Step 3, setting up the cold email infrastructure. So since we're using cold emails to generate leads for ourselves and then for our clients, we need to set up the actual emails in order to do this. But since we're doing this for business purposes, we need to make sure that there is a certain level of professionalism. So imagine you get an email from someone who's trying to sell you a service for a few $1,000s. And the email comes from a @gmail.com or a @outlook.com email address. Not the best look, right? So that's exactly why we want to be setting up a paid email account version of Microsoft Outlook, right? And the other thing to note as well is in terms of the math to determine how many email accounts you want to set up, understand that one domain, you can set up 3 email accounts, 3 Microsoft Outlook accounts. And for every 1 Microsoft Outlook account, you can send 20 to 30 email addresses per day. So what that means is for a single one domain, you could realistically send somewhere between 60 and basically 100 emails a day. The process will cost money. Understand that this process will actually cost money. It's not going to cost you thousands of dollars, but you still need a couple $100 in order to set up the entire infrastructure. And obviously it's variable because if you want, you can set up less email accounts, you can set up more. It is completely variable based on the amount of emails that you want to send on a daily basis, which will dictate how many email accounts that you should actually set up. But obviously, if you set up 50 email accounts, you will make money, you will get results significantly quicker than someone who only has 5 email accounts set up. Pretty obvious, right? Because it's just sending way more emails out. So I recommend that you allocate a few $100s, so somewhere between $200 and $500 to set up the cold email infrastructure. That way, you're able to send enough volume on a day-to-day basis in order to actually get results in a reasonable amount of time, and then it doesn't actually take you half a year to get results. But understand that volume negates luck. And this is by far the most neglected and the most simple part of the business that is just overlooked 99% of the time. If you send more emails, you will book more meetings. And if you book more meetings, you will close more deals, sign more clients, and just make more money. It's kind of just basic math. So with that being said, here is how to set up the email accounts. So the very first thing you want to do to set up your email accounts is go under porkbun.com. Again, this is the domain provider. You can use GoDaddy, you can use Namecheap. I personally just use Porkbun, and I'm going to be walking you through how to set up your email accounts from the beginning all the way to the end using porkbun.com. So the first thing you want to do is my main website is salesway.io. Salesway.io. This is my main domain. And for the purposes of what we're doing, you need to be buying burner domains and burner email accounts. And you can't be sending cold emails out of your main domain. Or for me, I can't be sending it out of salesway.io. And the reason why is because technically what we're doing is sales and marketing. So there's a risk that at any given moment, these accounts could get blocked, or they could get burned, or they could get blacklisted, whatever the case is. And if your main domain gets blacklisted, you're kind of just screwed, right? So you always want to be buying burner domains in order to lower that risk and to make sure that all is good. So what I did is I just went over into Porkbun. I just bought a new domain. As you can see, I have 33 domains for my own agency. This is my domain. And as you can look at all of these domains, they all look relatively similar to salesway.io, but obviously it's not the exact same because you'll only buy it once. I'm jiggling around the spelling. So this is Saleway, the Saleway, the Sellerway, you get the point, right? And you want to do the exact same thing. Just add an extra E, remove an S, add an extra L, remove certain letters, stuff like that. That's how you want to do it. A word of caution is make sure you're buying .com domains. So the data suggests that sending cold emails with .ca or .net or .org, it has a lot worse deliverability than sending it with .com domains, which is why you see all of these are .com domains. So the very first thing is obviously for the purpose of this video, I actually bought a brand new domain because all my other domains, as you can see, they're all set up, right? There's all of these records because they're all set up the right way. So I went and I bought this domain, saleway.com. It is empty right now. And since we are connecting it to Microsoft Outlook 365, the very first thing you want to do, Porkbun makes it easy. There's a quick DNS config button. I'm just going to press Office 365. It's going to have this pop up and press OK. And it's going to set it up. Press OK again. And as we can see, it has all of these records. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy over the domain, just a record of it. I'm going to go into Microsoft 365. So I actually just set this email account up as well, this admin center. You could just go on Google and search up Microsoft 365 admin center, create an account, and create a Microsoft 365 business basic account. Do the month to month so that you don't get locked into the annual billing. And all you want to do is once you log in, this is what this will look like. Your admin center, just search up domains, domain. Go under domains settings. and you're just going to press add a domain, and you're going to add in the domain that you just bought and set up on Porkbun. So I'm just going to press use this domain. It's going to be loading, and we're going to say verify your own domain. So to basically connect this Outlook 365 over into Porkbun, it's going to tell you how to do it. So I'm just going to show you as well. You're essentially going to set up a text record. I'm just going to copy this. So go under Porkbun, go back under the domain that you just bought, text record, host. I'm just going to paste this in, text value, and then the TTL was 3600, right? And I'm just going to press add, and we see it is over here at the bottom. I'm just going to press verify, and this will take a couple seconds. Okay, awesome. So it connected and it's successfully verified. Now the next page is how do you want to connect your domain? We're going to press continue. It's going to be loading again. Add DNS records, you're going to press continue. It's going to automatically do this for you. Press it again, continue, and then you're going to press done. And it says domain connection is done. So now we see under domains.salewe.com, the one we just bought is successfully added. Now the next thing you want to do is go under users and press active users. You should see none, or the one that you will see is the one that you would use to log into this admin center account. All you want to do is press add a user, and this is assuming you have a license. So if you don't have the license, you need to go buy the license. So for every one domain, you want to set up 3 users, which means you need 3 licenses for every domain that you have. For the purpose of this example, I only bought 1 license because I already have these email accounts set up and stuff like that, but I'm just gonna walk you through how to do this. For the first name, I'm just gonna use my name, Jimmy Fung. What you could do is, because you're setting up 3 users, you can set it up in your name. So the 3 users I probably use is gonna be Jimmy at salewe.com. This will be email 1. The second one might be Jim at Salewe, and the last one might be Jim.Fung, something like that. So then that way I'm able to use 3 different users all under my name. I'm just gonna press automatically create a password, require this user to change the password in the first sign. I'm gonna uncheck this, and I'm gonna create a password. I'm going to just write a random one, YouTube 123. I don't try to log into this email account, right? But I'm going to press next. Canada, I'm going to assign a license. I'm going to press next, custom password, and I'm going to press finish adding. And that's how you want to go about doing this. And this is the email user. Okay, so after you have set up your domains on porkbun.com and you have set up your email accounts using Microsoft 365, your next step is to connect your email accounts onto smartlead.ai. You can use instantly.ai as well. Essentially what you're doing is you are warming up your email accounts. You're ramping them up, because you wouldn't be able to just buy a bunch of email accounts and just start blasting cold emails from day one. That's just not how it works. What you need to do is you need to slowly ramp up your email accounts over the course of 14 days. That way, after the 14 days, on day 15, when you launch your cold emails, they will just land in the inbox right away. And the way we do that is by leveraging a tool like smartlead.ai. It's very important that you do this. And the reason I'm talking about it right now in day 1 of the day 5 challenge is because this process, again, it takes 14 days. So the longer it takes you to set this up, the longer it will take you to actually send out emails, the longer it will take you to get replies, to get booked meetings, and to sign your first client. So it's super important you do this first. So once you have a SmartLead account, you want to go under email accounts. This is what this will look like. You're just going to press Outlook. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the email account that we just set up. I'm going to refresh this, and I'm just going to copy it over. And then we're going to use the password that we just generated. It's going to ask permission requested. You're just going to press accept. And that's basically it. It will automatically connect onto SmartLead. We see that it says email connection success. You're going to just press OK. Go over into warmup, and you're just going to enable the warmup. Press enable warmup. And that's basically what you want to do. So say your mailbox will soon start receiving warm-up emails. That's all you need to do, and you're good to go. So this process does take 14 days, and that's exactly what you want to do to set up the email accounts. Step 4, crafting a no-brainer offer. So your offer is your message to the people that you want to reach out to. You're essentially telling people who you help, how you help, and the expected outcome from your service. But what happens is if you have a poor offer, this is what will happen. It will be extremely unclear who you help. It'll be extremely unclear how you help. It'll be unclear why someone will want to pay you, and no one would ever want to buy from you because it is perceived, what you're selling is perceived as low value. And this is why having a clear and irresistible offer is just super, super important. But how do we actually create as much value as possible with our offer? So again, I took this image from Alex Hormozi's book. If you have the time, go and read that because it's really, really valuable. It's called 100 Million Offers. And essentially, he came to the conclusion that are really only 4 levers that you want to pull on in order to create and dictate how much your value, how valuable that your offer actually is. So the first one is, what is the dream outcome? So what is the end result that you're selling? The second is, how likely are people actually able to achieve this result? So you could tell people that they could become a millionaire within the next 30 days, but the chance of that happening is slim to none, right? So that's a very unvaluable offer because yeah, the outcome is valuable. I think most people would want to become a millionaire, but the perceived likelihood of achieving that is very, very low, next to none, which is why it's not going to be believable. The third is, how long will it take to achieve that specific result? So obviously, the quicker you're able to get someone a result, obviously it's going to be way more valuable, right? Why would you want to make 10K in a year from now when you could do it in literally 3 months from now, in the next 90 days? You see how that works? And finally, the fourth thing is, how much effort and how much time will it take to actually achieve this result? So those are the 4 levers that you want to pull on to create as much value as possible with your offer. So to expand a little bit further, here are some of the outcomes, here are some of the end results that business owners will be looking for whenever they're buying a service, whether that's lead generation, website design services, any type of service. This is what they'll be looking at. They want a solution that helps them make more money. They want a solution that helps them save money, and they want a solution that helps them save their time. Those are the 3 outcomes that people buy when they're buying any service, right? So keep that in mind, right? And again, obviously there's really 3 core levers to any offer. Anytime you're selling something, people are buying something around the health, around relationships, and around wealth. So those are kind of the 3 circles that you want to think about whenever you're putting together your offer. So to make sure you actually have a strong offer, make sure you're selling one of these 3 desired outcomes. Obviously, for lead generation, it's pretty clear that the outcome that business owners are looking for when they work with you, when they buy your services, is to make more money, to make more revenue. That's the outcome that they're looking for. But let's break this down a little bit further. So when we say that we help someone make more money, how exactly do we do that? Well, the answer is we help people make more money by helping them land more clients. But how? By booking them sales calls. That's how we are doing it, to help them land more clients. But how exactly are we helping them book more sales calls? By using cold emails. So with understanding the desired outcomes and how specifically we can help them, let's craft our first offer. So using this template, this is what you can use as well for your own offer. We help niche get result within timeline without current pain points by leveraging our unique mechanism. So what exactly does this look like in real life? So back to our example of the marketing agencies. We help marketing agencies land 3 to 5 clients within 90 days without relying on word of mouth or referrals by leveraging our outbound organic framework, right? So we're calling out who we help, marketing agencies. We're calling out the specific result, land 3 to 5 new clients within the next 90 days, so timeline, without relying on word of mouth or referrals. And this is exactly why you need to be doing your research. So earlier, when we went inside the Facebook group, we saw that a lot of marketing agencies, they're relying on their own internal network, people they know, and word of mouth. So we're gonna call that out because obviously that's a massive pain point. Word of mouth leads is very inconsistent. You can't control how many people refer your business, how many people in your network that you know of actually wants your service. So obviously that's very unpredictable, and that's a massive pain point. So we're calling that out. And we're telling people that we're able to do this by leveraging our outbound organic framework. So essentially, that is what's called a unique mechanism. That's a name for your system, right? I'm giving a name to the cold email system that we're selling because I don't want to just lead with we do this using cold emails because that's a little bit too direct, and we want to create kind of a mist of curiosity around the people that we are selling to. So based on this offer, anyone who reads this sentence will know exactly who you help, the expected outcomes or the expected results from your actual service, and how you can help them. So it's very simple and it's very, very clear. Step 5, creating a killer cold email campaign. Now, this step is possibly the most important step, and I can make an entire video specifically talking about how to put together a highly effective cold email campaign. But simply put, there's really only two things that you need to think about, that you need to worry about when you're starting your own lead generation agency and scaling it to $10,000 per month. The first is figuring out how to get as much attention and driving as much traffic as possible onto your business, because it's really that simple. More eyeballs, more attention, and more traffic equals to making more money. Less eyeballs, less attention, and less traffic equals to making less dollars. And the biggest reason why people struggle, why some people don't really make money and some people don't hit $10,000 in a month, is because, to be completely blunt, no one knows who they are. They underestimate the amount of attention that they actually need in order to actually make money and in order to actually get to $10,000 per month. Now, another way to think about it is there are around 8 billion people on planet Earth. Imagine how much money you would have, how much money you would make if all 8 billion people knew about who you are. You'd be rich, right? You'd be a multimillionaire because there'd be so many people who just knows who you are. And this is exactly why you see different celebrities starting to branch out into businesses, selling different products. It's because so many people know who they are. They have so much attention that they're able to just start a business, sell a random product, and make millions of dollars the very next day. So once you're able to drive attention and drive traffic onto your business, the second thing that you need to think about is how to build as much trust as humanly possible with the people who are now giving you their attention. Because having a lot of people know who you are is one thing, but just because you get 1 million people to know who you are doesn't necessarily mean that they're ready to whip out their credit cards and send you thousands of dollars. But with a highly effective cold email campaign, you will be able to do these two things. Generate as much attention and traffic as humanly possible. And number two, build trust with your newfound attention. So here's your playbook to $10,000 per month with an email campaign. The first thing you want to do is set up as many email accounts as you can so that you can send as much volume as humanly possible so that you're able to generate attention. It's kind of impossible to not generate interest if you're emailing 1,000 people per day, right? Think about it. If you're emailing 1,000 people every single day, you're gonna get a client pretty quick, right? Now, the second thing you wanna do is using the offer that you created in the previous step, the one where you put together a simple one-liner telling people who you help, how you can help them, and what is the expected result from your service. You want to use that and reach out to people to see if people are interested. And once business owners are interested, you want to send them to a sales asset or a VSL, a video sales letter, to build trust with them. And obviously, once you send them that sales asset, people are gonna go through it, they're gonna build a bunch of trust, and what's gonna happen are the business owners will then book a sales call with you where you could then jump on, close the deal, and collect thousands of dollars. It's really that simple. So here's a diagram to kind of show you what that strategy looks like. So the very first thing that you want to do is obviously you're going to be using cold emails to reach out to people to generate traffic. You're going to use your email sequence to just reach out. It's just a messaging conveying your overall value, your overall offer. Once people are interested, you're going to reply back and you're going to send them over a lead magnet. It could also be a video sales letter, a VSL for short. I typically like to put my sales assets onto YouTube because it's just very effective over there. What will happen is the prospect will go through that lead magnet, they'll go through that video sales letter, and once they're interested and they trust that your process works, they're going to book a time on your calendar. Right? Maybe they'll reply back where you're gonna answer some questions, things of that nature. But the overall idea is just sending your prospect over a lead magnet. They're gonna watch it, they're gonna book a call on your calendar, and you're gonna take that sales call where you're gonna close the deal and make thousands of dollars. So here's an example of a cold email that would be very simple, yet highly effective. And hopefully you're able to see how simple and direct this actually is. So you can say, hey John, I'm reaching out because we help marketing agencies land 3 to 5 clients within 90 days without relying on word of mouth by leveraging our outbound organic framework. So here's the offer that we took from the previous step. I put together a quick video running over exactly how this works. Can I share it with you? So I want you to notice a couple of things. Notice how short and simple this cold email actually is. It's very short. Do you think that you could write something similar yourself? Yeah, you probably could, right? It's just super easy, super simple, and super direct because that's the point. You want to keep your emails as short as possible, direct, with zero fluff when emailing business owners. And the reason why you want to do that is because understand that these are very busy people. They don't have all the time in the world to stop and analyze your paragraph that you send them. They don't want to do any of those things. So you want to keep your emails as simple and as short as humanly possible when you write your cold emails. Keep these two things in mind. When you send your email to people, can someone skim through your message and understand exactly what you're saying in under 20 seconds? And the second thing is, if you show this message to a fifth grader, would they be able to understand what you're saying? And you answer no to any of these questions, then you need to go back to the drawing board and rework your email. Because your cold email is supposed to be short, it's supposed to be simple, and the business owner who's reading it they're supposed to have more questions than answers. And that's exactly why they'll reply. Because if you give away everything off the bat and you write this massive paragraph, not only will people not reply back because they're not going to read it, but you're giving them all the answers. Why would they want to reply back to you when you're telling them everything they need to know? So if you look at this email, we're really not saying too much. We're just leading with our offer, and we're asking business owners, hey, this is what we could do. Do you want to see a quick video where I explain exactly how this works? And it's kind of a no-brainer, right? It's a no-brainer because a business owner who wants that, who are interested in what you're saying, they're obviously going to reply back and be like, yeah, sure, send me that video. And that video is what you called a sales asset, right? This is a resource or an asset that will help you to sell your service. And the goal of the sales asset is to build trust with the people that you email. Because I'll let you in on a little secret. No one is going to pay you thousands of dollars just because you could tell them that you could book them 10 calls, or just because you could tell them that you can help them sign 3 clients. Because what will happen is maybe in the front, they'll have a smile, but deep down, they'll think to themselves, for sure, bro, for sure, for sure you could do this. That's what people will think. They'll think it's completely BS. So before you make your pitch and ask for money, what you need to do is you need to showcase to people why you're worthy of the money in the first place. You need to showcase to people that you are an expert, that you know what you're doing, and that you're able to get them the exact result that you promise. So if you're thinking to yourself, right now, I don't have any case studies, how do I still sign a client for thousands of dollars? I'm giving you the answer right here. This is the answer. All case studies do is they show people that you are an expert and that you know what you're doing. That's literally all case studies do. That's what case studies do and why it's so effective. However, there are obviously a bunch of different ways to showcase your expertise. And another way is by giving people unique insights around the specific solution that you are selling. So this is literally how I was able to sign my first clients for $3,000 and $250 per call without any case studies. The sales asset that I used was something called a VSL, a video sales letter, where essentially it's a short video that I put together where I talk about who I help, how I help, the process I'll take them through to get this specific result. And obviously at the end of that video, my call to action was booking a sales call. So here's actually a link to the video. I'm just gonna put it up right now and you can watch through it really quick. So what you're seeing on your screen right now is my very first VSL. And as you can see over here, I uploaded this onto YouTube on November 27th, 2022. And obviously I got my first client on December 1st, so a few days later. And I used this VSL for around, I'd say 2 months. This was the VSL that got me to my first 10K month. And as you can see, right, it's a 13-minute video. It has 0 editing, like you see on my bookmarks, you see my taskbar, you see all these things. I use my laptop webcam, my laptop mic, and it kind of looks like I just woke up from a nap. And it's 13 minutes long. And as you can see, the very first thing I talked about is how we make it unreasonable for agency and service businesses to not sign 3 to 5 clients every single month. That was my offer. And knowing what I know now, what I would have done differently would be I would have called out recruitment agencies, because my very first niche was selling to recruitment agencies. And if I said how we make it unreasonable for recruitment agencies to not sign 3 to 5 clients every single month, that would have just worked way better. But this still got the job done. And again, right, this was my very first VSL. I didn't really know what I was doing. And it still kind of cooked. So I started with that outcome, and then throughout the process, what I did is after I talked about the outcome, I actually put together a flow chart and I put it onto Google Docs, and where I explained my process. So essentially what I'm saying is, hey, so if you're a recruitment agency and you want to sign 3 to 5 new clients, this is the process in order to actually do so. The very first thing is finding leads. The second thing is setting everything up, setting up the cold email sequence, doing inbox management, doing all of these different things, which will lead towards booking a sales call and then collecting cash. So that's what I was talking about. It's a process selling VSL because I was teaching people my process. So it answers all the questions from the cold emails, because when I was emailing people, obviously these business owners would be really curious. I'll send them this video, they'll watch the video, and then by the end of the 13 minutes, they'll know exactly how I can help them. And at the end of the video, my call to action is, hey, so if you're interested in working with us to implement this process, then reply back to my email. We'll set up a call and we'll talk about this in way more detail. So this was my first ever VSL. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be very edited. It doesn't even need any high production quality. The only thing you need is keep it professional, right? You're selling to business owners. You're trying to collect thousands of dollars. If you have a background with a giant cartoon poster in the background, it's obviously not going to cut it, right? So keep that in mind. Keep it professional, but everything else doesn't really matter. It's about the content. So that's the first VSL I ever created. This is the second VSL, which I put together on January 23rd, 2023. So basically 2 months. And this was the VSL that got me from 10K to 20K. I hit my first 20K month in February 2023. And this was the VSL that I used in order to achieve that, right? And obviously I led with how I booked 16 sales calls in 1 week. This is a different type of VSL. I call this more of a case study video sales letter, because what I was doing was I was leveraging a case study. But the main thing is I wasn't leveraging a client case study. I was leveraging myself as a case study, because obviously the best part about this business model is you're using cold emails to land clients for yourself, to generate calls, to generate leads, and then you're selling that exact same process. So I was able to, as I was getting results for myself and I was generating a lot of calls, I was able to say, hey, we were able to get this extraordinary result for ourselves. Why don't we work together? This is what we did to get this result, to get 16 calls in a week. We could implement the exact same process into your business if you want. That's exactly the overall premise of this VSL, my second VSL. We can see I put this on Notion this time. I took a screenshot of my calendar, right? I started off with I run a appointment setting agency called Burrow Group. I since changed the name to SalesWay.io. It just sounds way better. We help B2B businesses book qualified sales calls. That's literally what I say. It's a little bit longer. This is 30 minutes. I talk about some of the things I'm talking about in today's video because it's just that valuable. I talked about how to create irresistible offers, how to book sales calls, the importance of volume, timing, sending cold emails, how to scale and take yourself out. And again, at the end of this video, my call to action is, if you're interested, then book a sales call with me, right? That's exactly what I was talking about. And again, you can find both of these videos on my YouTube channel. Just scroll down and you will find them. But that's exactly the overall premise of this, right? These two VSLs, they were just very scrappy. I put them together. It probably took me like an hour to put them together, maybe 2 hours. And I literally just recorded it through my laptop webcam and it cooked and it made me a lot of money. Now, jumping back into the doc. Now, in the most simplistic way possible for your own VSL, here are the things you want to keep in mind. Make sure you're very specific with who you want to call out. Now, obviously, my examples, they were the first ones I've ever done. I didn't really know what I was doing. I should have been way more specific with recruitment agencies. The second thing is make sure your offer is extremely clear. Make sure you're leveraging visuals. So diagrams, pictures, flowcharts. I added a lot of them. If you notice that in both of my first two VSLs, because it helps to explain your process and it keeps everything just way less boring. Focus on actually teaching people the process and share insights about how you're able to get someone a very specific result. And remember, your goal of the VSL is to showcase your expertise and to drive traffic towards booking a sales call with you. And once you crack the code with putting together successful VSLs, with putting together effective cold email campaigns, these are just some of the results of what you can expect. So we have Jordan, who booked sales calls and closed his first call for $2,000 and $200. This is the very first call he ever booked using cold emails. He launched his campaign on May 1st. And as you can see, 7 days later, on May 8th or 8 days later, he signed his first deal for $2,000, right? We have Ben. who signed and closed his first deal for $3,000 using this exact same process I just outlined, with Safraz, who closed his first deal for $1,000, or closed his second deal, second client, for $1,000, and he highlighted the importance of the video sales letter because that's just how important it is. With Kevin, who closed a $3,500 deal and $300 per book call, and actually another guy called Tony, another guy in the group, he said he saw Kevin's actual VSL, he found that, he thought it was really good, and that's how he was able to do it. With Jason, who closed a huge deal, a $37,000 deal, and he credited a lot of that to the importance of his VSL, his video sales letter. We have Brian, who revamped his entire cold email campaign, revamped his entire VSL process, and he made $11,000 in a single month. We have Tom's, who highlighted the importance of the VSL because he closed a $1,500 deal, and he said it himself that even his English is not that good. English is not his first language, but because of his VSL, what happened was the business owners, they watch that VSL, they believe in the process, they understand that Tom's is an expert, and they booked a call, and they were kind of just ready to buy. So that's what happens when you have a very effective cold email campaign and a VSL that is just very effectively put together. Step 6, collecting thousands of dollars on a 40-minute Zoom call. So once your cold email campaigns are dialed in, what's gonna happen is you're gonna get a lot of replies and you're gonna start booking sales calls. Now we're left to the sales call, and this is actually probably what I think to be the funnest part of the entire process, because if you do this process correctly, you will literally be able to make a few $1,000s at the end of a 40-minute Zoom conversation. Now, obviously, as a caveat, this is a skill. Sales is a skill, and your 100th sales call will be significantly better than your first one, right? But anyone can become proficient at sales if they tried hard enough. It's kind of like riding a bike. The first time you rode a bike, you probably fell. Second time, you probably fell. Third time, you may have still fell. But the 100th time you rode a bike, you're probably zooming on the streets. So on your sales call, you really shouldn't be convincing people or feeling like that you're persuading them of anything. You're not high pressure selling people. You're simply there to answer logistical questions, right? Answering people who are asking you, so how long would this take to process? How does everything work? How much does this cost? You're answering those type of questions because if you do the process correctly, your video sales letter actually answers a lot of the initial questions up front. It also qualifies people because not every single person you sell to will be qualified and should use your services. So by the time they're even on the sales call, a lot of their initial questions are answered because of your video sales letter, and you're there to answer more logistical style questions and see if they have a problem that you can actually help them solve. So once I was able to understand this tiny little mindset shift, selling became super easy. It became a lot more fun because I didn't need to feel the need to just aggressively sell people, to just persuade people, to just pitch people anything. Rather, what I was doing now was I was deciding if I could help someone or not really. So to give you a better idea of what the actual sales process should kind of look like, right? And this is what I personally use at my own agency. But this is kind of the process I take people through whenever I get sales calls. So the very first thing I want to do is I obviously want to understand someone's business. I want to understand who they sell to, what they do, what their product and service is, what is the niche that they're in, all of those different things. After that, I want to understand what someone's sales process is. So how are you, John, currently generating sales calls? Are you relying on word of mouth, networking? Are you sending cold emails right now? Are you doing LinkedIn? Are you pigeon mail? What does that process look like? After I understand the core sales process, the next thing I want to understand is what is the problem, right? So right now, John, it sounds like you're using word of mouth and your network to generate new clients. Do you like the results from that? Is it consistently bringing you new clients? No? Why is that? Right? So that's the problem, right? So I identified that the word of mouth is an issue because it's not consistent. I understand that's the problem. So now, after I understand there's a problem, I then move on to the next stage of the sales process, which is understanding what someone's thoughts are on cold emails. So John, have you ever tried cold emails? Have you ever looked into cold emails? Have you worked with someone else to do cold emails? What does that look like? I understand after that, what does success look like to them? So John, what we do is we sell lead generation as a service. We help businesses like yourself, we help marketing agencies generate qualified sales calls by using cold emails. What does success look like for you? Because obviously everyone's different. One person might want 5 sales calls, someone else might want 10 sales calls. What does that look like for you? So understanding what success looks like so then you can pitch an effective outcome. After that, you want to run over the timelines for adding this into the business. So John, if we were able to do this for your business, help you generate sales calls and get you new clients, what does your timelines kind of look like to getting started with this or implementing this into your business, whether that's with us or with someone else? What does your timelines look like? After that, you're asking for permission to pitch people, and then you get into your actual pitch where you talk about your process and how you can actually help John with the specific result by using cold emails, right? So over here, you can pause the video right now. Here are kind of a little bit of an expanded version of what I just went over, how to set the intro and the agenda, how to understand the current business state, so what they're currently doing, how to understand their current sales process. These are some of the questions you want to be asking, what they're looking to achieve, and then the pitch, right? Your expected end result of working with a client. You're walking through the process of how everything works, and you're using the answers from the questions that you ask them inside of your actual pitch. So at the end of the day, understand that sales is a numbers game, and not every single person that you jump onto a sales call will be closable. That's just the truth. Some people that you talk with won't have problems that you can help solve. Some people won't believe in the process, and some people just want to give you money right away, but just the vibes aren't right. Maybe they seem like kind of like assholes, maybe they're a little bit rude, maybe all of these other things, and you just don't really want to work with them even though they want to pay you money. Right? So these are some of the reasons why not every single person that you jump onto a sales call with, you'd be able to close them. And using this exact same sales process that we just outlined, you'll literally be able to close $1,000 deals in a matter of minutes on a Zoom call, right? Just like Brian, who was able to close a deal for $2,500 plus $300 per call, right? He literally says the prospect had a bunch of objections. Think about it. I need to think about it. I need to talk to my partner, but he still got it done. Right? We have Chino, who signed his second client for $1,500 setup plus $200 per call, right? And he did this after 2 weeks, or sorry, he did this with no case studies, and it didn't matter, right? This was his client that he signed after 2 weeks of follow-ups, right? And then obviously the next picture is he signed his sixth client for $3,000 setup and $200 per call. It was a 2-call close, a slightly different format, but he was still able to sign a deal for $3,000. With Russell, who signed a lower ticket client, or he calls it a lower ticket client, for $1,500 and $200 per call. His first client, again, he has no case study, so using the exact same process, he was still able to do this. With Nelson, who signed his first client for $1,500, right? He literally said it himself, he never thought he would close this soon. And he started on February 1st, and he launched his campaign on March 3rd. And as we can see, on March 15th, he closed his first deal for $1,500, and that was pretty amazing, right? So I know going over this theory and going over this theoretical sales process might be a little bit overwhelming. And when I was first starting my own business, when I was first starting my own lead generation agency, everyone online kind of just shared a different strategy of what worked for them. But what helped me the most, and what would have helped me most significantly, was seeing examples of real sales calls. So here is an example, I'm just gonna put it on the screen right now, of a deal where I closed a $2,500 deal in an 18-minute Zoom call. So if you're not interested in this, just skip ahead by 18 minutes. But if you are interested in watching this, I'm pretty sure this will be very valuable. I wish I had this when I was first getting started, but try to take notes of the type of questions I'm asking, how I'm progressing the conversation forward towards the actual close, and make sure you keep those things in mind and see how I'm applying that sales process that we just outlined and applying that in real life. Hey Larry, how's it going? How are you?
Hi Jimmy, how are you? Fine, thank you.
That's awesome to hear, man. Where are you calling in from today?
I'm actually calling in from Ireland here.
Oh, nice. I'm calling in from Toronto, Canada. So it's a bit cold here, but I know we put, I think it was 45 minutes on the calendar today. We probably wouldn't use all of that time, but if it's good with you, let's jump right into it, shall we?
Will do.
Okay, awesome, Larry. Cool. So I know I reached out to you over emails. I sent you a cold email talking briefly about what we did. We also sent you over the video. But I guess what I'm curious about is what kind of prompted you to jump onto this call, right? Is there anything in specific that you wanted to chat about? Anything like that?
Yeah, to be honest, Jimmy, I'm looking to do, or I would say the business is looking to do, more lead generation with some consistency. Because I'm working in, we're working with SaaS at the moment. it's more referral based business, and I'm looking to have something more consistent. So what piqued my interest, to be honest, is your video. The email I got obviously piqued my interest, and then I went over to the video, which I found quite educational. Now I will say, we have tried one or two lead generation agencies before, so I know what's involved. I know about cold email, but to be honest, we've been burned more than once. So, I'm very skeptical about this, to be honest. But I know, if we got the right partner here, I do believe the cold email could be a sales channel that ticks the box for us. So that's why.
100%, Larry. That makes sense, right? And obviously, there are a lot of people doing cold emails. A lot of people I chat with, they kind of say something similar where they worked with someone else or they tried it and it just never worked out. I guess what I'm curious about, Larry, is I took a look at your website right before this call. I feel like I kind of understand what you guys do, what you guys sell. But I want to ask you directly and hear from you directly. Obviously, you guys provide software development services. And it looks like you guys are doing it for SaaS companies. But what type of SaaS companies? Like, is there a specific location that you guys work with? Any specific criteria? What does that kind of look like for you guys, Larry?
Yeah, well, we work now. The Irish market is very small, so we work both in the Irish and the UK, and we're actually the industry we're servicing at the moment is actually the insurance industry. So, what we try and do is we develop like when we get clients in, they're looking to develop an MVP specifically. So we start out with that process, and on the basis of they're happy with the MVP, we go in and then develop the full product for them. So.
Right. That makes sense. So right now you're mainly working in the Ireland insurance SaaS. That's the specific niche. Just out of curiosity, right? Have you considered, reaching out to companies in, let's say, North America, in other areas of Europe, let's say UK, Australia, New Zealand, or just strictly Ireland as of right now?
I guess the reason we're using Ireland and both Ireland now and the UK, and the UK obviously is a much bigger market,
Yeah.
is time zone more than anything else, to be honest, Jimmy. Yeah, look, we may be looking to expand. We are limited with some capacity. I'm not sure about, bringing on new guys and having to train them in a short space of time that if we went out to the US or, the likes of New Zealand or Australia. But yeah, longer term, it is definitely in the pipeline.
100%, Larry. That makes sense. And no, the only reason I was asking is because what we found is obviously your services, it could apply to pretty much anyone around the world. I guess you're English speaking. So as long as they are English speaking clients, these SaaS companies, insurance SaaS companies, then what you do could definitely apply in those industries as well. So I took a look at your site. I saw you do have a few case studies, right? I'd be curious to ask, how do you guys get those clients? I know you said you tried cold emails in the past, worked with some lead gen agencies, but what would you say is your current sales process, and what does that kind of look like right now?
Be honest, we've done some paid advertising, and now it was expensive, but we actually did get some quality leads from that. And I do know some people in the industry. We go to some conferences as well. So we get some referrals from that. So, probably 80% of my business or our business at the moment is referral based. Maybe not by direct people, but indirectly as well. So hence why I'm looking to expand on that and have something with maybe a better degree of consistency. And hence why I'm even looking at cold email as a sales channel.
100%. So it sounds like kind of your main priority with this, aside from just generating more meetings and interest, is you're looking for that consistency factor. Is that right, Larry?
That would be yes.
100%. Yeah, no, and that's kind of the main benefit of cold emails, right? Is because um, a lot of people, right, they're running ads, or the main source of customers and clients are word of mouth and referrals, right? Which is obviously, not that consistent, although they are some of the highest quality leads that you can ever get. But what we do is we focus more so on the cold email side of things, where it is more scalable and it is way more consistent if it's set up the right way. So I'm curious to hear, Larry. Obviously, you're running this software development agency. What does your team look like, right? Do you have partners? Do you have, a bunch of employees? Do you do this yourself? What does that kind of look like right now?
Well, I'm the boss, so to speak. Okay, so we've got three developers on staff. I do have a CTO and a CMO as such as well outside of the developers. So the CMO, yeah, would make some of the marketing decisions. But at the end of the day, the buck stops with me. So
100%. So on the aspect of sales then, right? And I guess jumping on these sales calls to talk with prospective clients, would you say that's something that you typically do, or do you have a salesperson, or is that kind of falls under the realm of the CMO?
it would normally fall under the realm of the CMO. But like, as I'll be making the decision anyway, I'm happy enough to do that for now. So.
100%, Larry. And I don't want to bombard you with questions, right? But one of the things that was quite interesting to me was you mentioned that you worked with a few lead generation agencies, and for whatever reasons, it just kind of never, it never worked out, right? I'm assuming they did cold emails for you, or did they do other channels, or just strictly cold emails?
I think some of them did the LinkedIn as well, the direct messaging on LinkedIn, but primarily cold email, yeah.
Got it, 100%. And obviously, they never worked out. Uh, just based on your understanding of things, why do you think that is? Is it maybe the people they're reaching out to was just wrong? They don't send enough volume. Maybe they're just not that good at writing the cold emails. Why do you think that is, Larry?
Well, Jimmy, to be honest, I think it may be a combination of all three. I did give him a good chance. I understood well that there was a lead-in time for this, the warm-up phase. I was familiar with all of that. But what I felt was that, I gave him the criteria for the lead lists as such, scraping those emails. And I was just a little surprised with, after about 5 weeks in, we just weren't getting anything. And then when I questioned them on one or two of the meetings, it sounded like, when I questioned about how many emails are actually being sent out, I think the reference maybe 200, 2 to 300, which, being familiar with the process, I felt at that stage that that probably should be a multiple of five of that.
Right.
As they say, volume negates luck, as you probably well know.
100%, Larry. And I completely agree with that statement. So it sounds like it was a combination of things. Volume, obviously, at the top. Maybe the people you're reaching out to was just not that good. And maybe the messaging was a little off, right? So what I'm curious about, right? And kind of the reason why I asked you about those, your past experiences is obviously you worked with a few lead gen agencies. It hasn't worked out. And obviously we are a lead generation agency. So do you think working with us or what we do might give you a different result, right? Obviously, it never worked out, right? But we're on this call, right? What do you think about that?
Well, I guess the seeing the video and your own case studies and the proof and all that. Like I said, I know and probably believe that it's a sales channel that will work. I know there's a good bit of testing to go on, but and hence why I'm mad keen to try and get some consistency in relation to lead generation. So third time lucky to say, Jimmy.
Yeah, third time's the charm. 100%, Larry. So, just based on what we're talking about right now, I definitely feel like, we can help you out, especially with what we do with the cold email space. I'd like to talk a little bit more about our services and what specifically we do. Before I do that, I'd be curious to hear, right? Obviously, you're looking for consistency, but do you have any specific like revenue targets, goals in terms of book meetings, anything of that nature, or not really at this time?
Yeah, no, I would like to. I have an expectation, like our lead-in time for projects, are kind of in and around the 3 month time frame. So look, success for me would be even getting like three projects. So if I was able to get three projects in kind of 3 month time frame, that's success for me. Ideally, yes, I'd love more, but kind of walk before you can run here. So
Yeah.
yeah, three projects in kind of 90 days is actually would be a success for this.
100%, Larry. And yeah, no. So what we do here at salesway.io, our lead generation agency, I'm very confident I'd be able to help you get three clients, at least three clients in the next 90 days. I think that's kind of the bare minimum. If it's good with you, I could quickly run over with you kind of what we do, our services, and how I think I can help you. Is that cool with you?
That's great. Yeah, go ahead.
For sure, Larry. So just to, just at the top, basically the way it works is I know you watched our video, but we are kind of a cold email agency. We work with different software development agencies, and we pretty much help them generate sales calls for their calendar, right? That's the overall idea of what we do. We do this entirely using cold emails, and there are a bunch of different parts to this. So if you have questions, feel free to stop me and ask me. But basically, the overall idea of how it works is if we were to work together, the very first thing is we would need to understand your business in much more detail, right? What you guys sell specifically, who you guys work with specifically, what your timelines are, what your current process is, and taking that customer from the second you sign them towards developing the MVP and building out the software for them. So we really want to understand that. And the reason why is because when we're reaching out to people over cold emails, we want to be as specific as possible in terms of your services and how specifically you can help them. So that's the first thing that we do. After that, we go back and we set up all the emails, right? Obviously, we're sending cold emails. We want to set up all the email accounts. We want to write all your cold email scripts. We want to scrape the leads, right? That's pretty standard stuff. And that's the overall idea. And then so that process does take 14 days. But once that process is done, we actually launch the cold email campaigns. And at that point, we're basically just testing different things. And at that point, you should start expecting replies. And obviously, replies equals to booked meetings. But that's pretty much the process, right? And I know I didn't go into too much detail. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. If you want me to go in more detail, I could go in more detail as well. But what questions do you have for me, Larry?
Okay, well, no, look, as I said, because I am familiar with the process. To me, the next question is price. What's your price?
Yeah, 100%, Larry. So, the way it works for our pricing is I did mention it in the cold emails that we sent you. We do work on performance. We do have a setup fee. It's $2,500. The reason it's 2,500 is because we're setting up cold emails and these email accounts does cost money. Putting all these things together does cost money. So there is a fixed fee involved. But the way it works is every single call that we generate you, it would be $250, right? So if we generate you 10 calls, then obviously you're going to get clients from that. But if we don't generate you results at all, then obviously you would not be paying beyond that setup fee. But that's kind of what that looks like. Does that make sense, Larry?
It was, yeah, a bit more expensive now than the other guys I was using. Actually, yeah, look, one of the guys was doing a paper call as well, and he was only charging. Now, when I say he was only charging, I think it was 180 is what he was charging. So now, I suppose the other side of that is I didn't get any, I didn't get any leads. So, is there any way we could work on like 250 is a bit more than I'm willing to pay? Is there any way that we could work on a close basis instead?
100%, Larry. And the way it works is because what we're looking for is more of a long-term partner, right? And that's kind of why we do that pricing model of a performance, because obviously what we do is generate meetings. So that's within the realm of our control. We would be open to exploring a revenue share or a commission based on closes, but obviously those are some elements that we can't control, right? It's dependent on your sales team, the sales ability, stuff of that nature. So what we mainly focus on is more so getting those appointments onto your calendar so that you can close more deals and make more money. But that's kind of the overall premise. And to answer your question, we wouldn't be able to start with a commission or based on closes just because those are elements we can't control. You're a business person, I'm a business person. That's just how it works. But it is something that we'd be open to exploring down the line, right? So that's kind of how that works, right? If that makes sense.
Okay, okay. So would you do any option like maybe including the first few calls as part of that setup fee? You know, that would be uh, that would be closer to our goal, for example.
100%. And when you say adding a few costs into the setup fee, do you have anything in mind, like a specific number, what that could look like?
Well, I suppose, maybe the first three, something like that, and to just cheapen the deal for us and make it more attractive.
100%. Yeah, no, I completely understand. Um, we could do three. The only thing I'd say is, uh, you know, if I could get, I guess, your commitment basically, right? If we were able to include the first three calls into the setup fee, and obviously the performance will kick in after those three calls. So, for example, the fourth call, the fifth call, the sixth call. Do you think this is something that you'd be interested in getting started with, or not really?
No, yeah, no, that's something I would be interested in getting started with. Yeah.
100%, Larry. Awesome, man. So, where do you want to go from here then, right? Obviously, we talked about how it works. I know you had some questions about the process. Hopefully, I answered them. And we talked about the investment and what that could look like in terms of the setup fee and the performance model. So, where do you want to go with this from here?
Yeah, well, look, listen, I'm at this point, I'm probably key. Look, I'll try it out. That's the way I would view it. Bit skeptical, Jimmy, still, but as I said, I was impressed with your VSL and your case studies. So, look, I am willing to give this a go. But have you got some sort of an agreement or something I'd like to take a look at first, just to make sure that we cross the I's and sorry, cross the T's and dot the I's?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, of course. We do business by the books. Everything we do has agreements. Everything we talked about, the setup fees, the performance, all of that stuff is written down on the agreements. I know you mentioned you are a little bit skeptical. Is there anything in specific that you're a little bit unsure of? Maybe the process, how it works, anything like that?
Oh, not really, Jimmy. It's more that, as I said, look, I've had the success and I've had two goes of it already, so that's purely, it's not on a skeptical of your business per se, but the model, I've tried it twice and it hasn't worked. And as I said, I'm hoping for third time lucky.
100%, Larry. So why don't we do this, right? What I could do is I could send you over the invoice for the initial setup fee. I'll put together the agreements right after this call, talking about what's included as part of the setup fee, the first three calls, and then the performance model. What's the best email to send you over the invoice and the agreement to?
The email that we had here on the Zoom call. So yeah, you can use that one.
No worries, Larry. So I sent you over the invoice. I'll send you over the agreement. I'd be curious to hear in terms of timelines, right? Mainly so that I could go back and estimate for my own business. When do you think you want to get started?
Well, to be honest, this is something I want to start ASAP. So, if you, yeah, I'll go check my email now, and if I like what I see in the agreement, let's look at getting maybe this kicked off next Monday.
100%, Larry. So while I have you on this call, obviously the first step is setting up the onboarding call. Where on that call, I want to understand your business and put together your offer and all of that stuff. Why don't we set up the call right now? And obviously, I'll pull up the calendar, booking the call. Awesome, Larry. It was a great chat today. I'm very confident that I'll be able to help you get 3 clients in the next 90 days. I think that's very realistic, very feasible. Just let me know once the invoice is taken care of, and we'll get started with the client onboarding process right away. Step 7, repeating the process and scaling to $10,000. Now, the best part about this business model is that the same process that you use to sign a client for yourself is a similar process to deliver the results for your clients. Now, obviously, there are a couple different differences. You would obviously need to swap out your offer for your client's offer. You would want to reach out to your client's niche. You would need to put together a cold email campaign that is specific to the product and service that your clients sell. But essentially, you're taking the first 6 steps in this video and reapplying it for your client. It's pretty simple, right? And here is a super ninja tip that you can also use on your sales call. And I remember using this for my very first few sales conversations. I at least said to the prospect, so John, think about how we were able to set up this conversation. What we did was we literally emailed you out of the blue explaining what we do. You don't know who we are. We didn't really know that much about you. We're basically strangers. What we did was we sent you a few resources which led to you booking this call. And that's pretty much exactly what we'll do for your business as well. So this process clearly works. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here on a Zoom call chatting with us right now. And that's literally what I said to prospects. And I closed a few deals by literally saying that. And that's the truth, is the ultimate form of social proof. Now, scaling to $10,000 per month is actually pretty simple. And it's not quite as challenging or quite as complex as a lot of people online make it out to be. And I'm going to show you this by literally just giving you the numbers, because you don't even need to have a bunch of employees. You don't need to have complex systems, complex softwares, a complex CRM, or any of these other things that people online would have you believe. Because the only 2 things you need to focus on is, again, number 1, generating attention, and number 2, building trust and credibility. And if you focus on these 2 things, making $10,000, actually the numbers just work in your favor. Because if you're sending enough emails and you're following the right cold email frameworks that I outlined, you're not writing a paragraph, you're not writing an essay, and you're leveraging a properly done VSL, there is just simply no way that you don't make money by following this process. Because if you look at the numbers, here is actually an example of a cold email campaign that I sent around half a year ago, or a year ago. This was September last year. I sent 21,000 emails. I got a 64% open rate. I got a 30% reply rate, and I got 67 positive replies. So if we break down the math, 67 positive replies. Let's assume 50% of people actually booked a sales call with me, because of these 67 people, I actually sent them over my VSL, right? So let's assume 50% of people, it just wasn't interesting towards them. It wasn't valuable towards them. But the other 50% of people, they actually booked a sales call. What that meant was I booked 33 sales calls. And let's assume from those 33 sales calls that I closed 1 in 4 people that I spoke with. So I had a 25% closing rate. That means that I got 8 clients, and the industry average is 20 to 30% closing rate. So the average person, the average salesperson closes 20 to 30 deals. So 2 to 3 deals per every 10 sales conversations. So let's assume that each client paid me the $2,000 setup fee, meaning from this campaign alone, I made $16,000. Now, obviously, these are with highly conservative numbers with an extremely low closing rate. That's an industry average closing rate. Because if you do the VSL correctly, you should really be getting 40 to 50% closing rate minimum, because people are already jumping on, kind of just ready to buy your services. They, again, just want to understand how everything works logistically. Now, this is also assuming that you charge a $2,000 setup, right? I literally showed examples of people charging more. My very first client paid me $3,000 for a little bit more context. But overall, if you follow the outline steps, getting to your first $10,000 is relatively simple, right? So for example, we have Brian, who hit $11,000 in his 3rd month of running this business. So literally before the 90-day period, he was able to hit 11K. We have Michael, who hit 13K literally in his 2nd month, so within 60 days. We have Kevin, who went from 0 to 9.5K in basically a month. Now, obviously, this is not 10K, but it's $500 less, and he did this in a month. Here's some screenshots of his wins. With Spencer, who did 0 to 11K in less than 3 months as well. And actually, I have YouTube interviews with both Kevin and Spencer on my YouTube channel. If you look, you go onto my channel and you search up the names, you could probably find it. If you search up Kevin and search up Spencer, you'd probably find that YouTube interview where they talk about how they were able to do this. So to wrap things up, I have complete confidence that you could literally take everything that we covered here in today's video, all 7 steps, go out on your own, put it into action, and get results that you previously thought wasn't possible. And I'm certain that with just the information that we covered, left on your own, with your own resources, with your own time, with your own effort, you can make a go at this in a way that most people will just never be able to. And that's a completely viable option. You have all the information that you need to know in order to actually succeed. But what if there was another option? Another option that would make your success with this business model kind of inevitable, making it unreasonable for you not to hit $10,000 per month in the next 90 days. Well, you're interested in hearing about how to make sure that you're able to build your own lead generation agency and get it to $10,000 per month in the next 90 days, then here is what I have for you. The InboxLab.io program. Because here's the truth. There is enough information here in today's video that will allow you to succeed with your own lead generation agency. That's the truth. I'm not going to lie to you. However, 95% of people who are watching this video or are reading this guide will never even sign the first client. But why is that? It's because of what I call the failure cycle, where someone goes through a resource, whether that's a YouTube video just like this, or they go into a course, whatever the case is, they go through that process, they get started, and what happens is the next day, they take the first step and they have a question. But the problem is they have no one to ask this question to. No one will give them the answers that they need. So what happens is they get stuck, they feel frustrated, and that leads to them giving up sooner rather than later. That's what I call the failure cycle. So oftentimes, information alone is just not enough to guarantee success, right? All the information exists online for me to just go out and cook the best burger in the world, but how come the burgers that I cook are just simply not that good? It's because the information is the what, but I'm missing the how. And as long as you're going through the process of building your own lead generation agency, while you have all the information you need, these are just some of the things that you probably get stuck on, right? You might get stuck setting up your email infrastructure the right way to actually maximize email deliverability. You might get stuck picking a good niche to sell to. You might get stuck crafting an offer that business owners actually want. You might get stuck writing effective cold email campaigns that actually generate interest. You might struggle with putting together a converting VSL that actually converts interest into tangible book meetings. You might struggle with taking the sales calls, and you might struggle with delivering the service and ensuring that you're profitable long term. And if you can figure out how to solve each and every one of these problems, you can obviously do it yourself. It's just going to take you a ton of time, right? And this might mean that it might take you 6 months, it might take you 12 months, it might take you even more before you sign your first client and make your first dollar from this business model, from your own lead generation agency. And that's assuming that you actually stick to it and don't end up quitting first. So here's my offer to you. I will work with you one-on-one to build your lead generation agency and get it to $10,000 per month in the next 90 days. What this is this is not a course. This is a consulting program where I take you through all the steps in way more detail with real world examples, right? So for example, when we talk about cold email campaigns, I'll show you on my screen a real example of my own cold email campaigns that have converted and signed me a couple clients, right? When we're talking about VSLs, I show you real world examples of my own VSLs that are working today. I show you real sales calls that I had that just converted where I closed deals. The next thing that I'll do is I will consult with you and help you. I will literally help you pick your niche. I will write your offer for you. I'll write your cold email scripts. I'll help you, walk you through the process of putting together your VSL. I will review your sales calls and I'll walk you through the process of everything A to Z involving starting a lead generation agency. So any problems that you have, any challenges or any questions that you might have, I have personally walked through them myself, right? Remember, I started this business and I was able to scale to $10,000 in a single month within 2 months because I know what I'm doing. So this is for you if you aren't interested in spending the next 6 months just trying to figure out how everything works and you want to accelerate your journey. You don't want to wait 6 months in order to sign your first client, in order to get to your first 10K month. You want to do it in the next month, next 2 months, next 3 months. You don't want to wait half a year or a year in order to do that. You will also have access to a community of other people who are going through the journey. So throughout this entire video, I shared with you a couple examples of other people who are making money, signing clients, closing deals with their own lead generation agency. Those are all people inside of the community, and you can literally shoot them a message if you have questions, right? If you want to learn from their perspective and get their own insights, shoot them a message or drop a question and they'll probably reply back to you, right? So again, I have gone through this entire process, so I know how it works. I have helped over 80 plus people start and build their own lead generation agencies and land their first clients. So I guarantee that this process works. So if we work together, if you take action, if you are actually committed to the process, if you don't sign your first client and make back a return on investment on what you paid to work with me, then I will refund you in full because this process just clearly isn't working for you. But obviously you actually have to do exactly what I tell you, because if we just work together, you expect to make $10,000 by sleeping in, not really doing the work, not really caring about the process, obviously you're not gonna make money at all, right? I wouldn't be able to refund you because you just simply didn't do the work and you didn't follow the instructions. But if you do everything that I tell you to do, follow all the instructions, which is not that hard. All you have to do is follow the instructions, and you don't make money, you don't make back a return on what you invested, I will simply refund you because the process just isn't working. But I don't know, like that's not going to happen, right? Like you saw it yourself. This process works. So if you want to work with me, I attached a link in the description. The very first link is a link to my calendar where you can set up a time to chat with me or someone from my team to walk you through the process and show you how everything works. You can also follow me on Instagram, JimmyFung_, and if you have any questions about how everything works, you can DM me your questions there. So if you want my help with building your lead generation agency and scaling it to $10,000 per month in the next 90 days, then let's chat and see how I can help you.